Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are doing a little mixed media orchid painting. I'll be teaching you some tips and tricks. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please share the love. Hi, so I have these Caran d'Ache crayons that I'm going to play with today. I have this orchid plant, a little bit of water. I have a lot of different ones. And what are some of the ways that we can kind of get this onto the page? This thing and how it's going to exist on the page. I'm going to dip my Caran d'Ache in a little bit of the water just to get it kind of moving. Develop something. These Caran d'Aches are great. They come with these little rip-off pieces. You can see there's these arrows and they have these little tabs that allow you to pull it back and reveal new Caran d'Ache. Alright, so right now I'm just putting a gesture down on the page. You can see it's just a little scribble. So that's pretty good. And then, like I said, we can use this brush to now kind of loosen it up. Pretty. So I think I might put that on there. And I'm just lifting a little bit up on a little sponge brush here. And I'm going to go along. And that's looking pretty good. I like that. Let's see what it looks like when I pull it away. All right, so far. It's not. There's something interesting happening. Pulling it back. Seeing some interesting things. Not the world. My world's not on fire, but there's a little bit of some texture in there that can be now used. Another painting. It can be the backdrop, or I can now collage this paper into something, add more stuff to it. So again, we have now the sun stencil and the sort of loose gesture suggestion of this flower. All right. Now, you might want to stay here. Who knows? Maybe this is where you're at in your process. But I think I want to add a little bit more information. I want to age it a little bit. I don't know why I'm interested in aging, but let's see. Let's take a little yellow ochre goldens And then I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit of bone black to it. But I kind of get annoyed when things aren't, when things get cut off the page there. So I'm stops here. So see what I've done? Instead of allowing it to go off the page, I sort of stopped it. Maybe I'll stop the other one too. So see what I'm doing here? I am, even though in reality, if I'm being realistic to realism, it would be off of the page, but for the sake of this drawing, this piece of artwork, maybe I want to keep it sort of in the picture plane. Let's see. The basket of mixed media materials. Here I have this piece of Marc Chagall painting. It's kind of interesting in there. So just so you can see what I did, I put that sort of arm, Marc Chagall arm in there, just building it up. We need a little bit more. And there's pieces of butterflies. That's pretty actually. In there. Could we do that as a leaf? Maybe. Very much influencing what I'm doing here on the page. Alright, so that's looking kind of interesting. You see it close. We have the flowers, we have the butterfly leaf, there's the sort of suggestion of the orchids. It's kind of fun, nice. We've got the texture in the background. And who's to say we could even have to keep the orchid around? We don't really have to, but we'll see what happens. So now, I might go back in and work this orchid again with some more details. See, there's... Then, let's do this. Now this is a very interesting sort of abstract shape. This marking of this orchid here is quite interesting. And just because there's only one in this piece doesn't mean I have to stick to one in the painting. Maybe I want to multiply it, kind of get it moving around. So I'm going to open this back up. I'm going to put some white over here to make room for another one of these flowers. So that would be 3 there, clustered there. And then maybe I might, so that will be good, I think. A third one would be nice. There's only 2 on the plant, but a third kind of element will be over there. And then I might look to see if there's anywhere else where I can open up. Remember we had this piece of collage that kind of goes off beyond the leaf. I might go over that now to kind of cut that in, to really carve that leaf shape into that space, so it feels like it belongs more into that space. And I have discovered that using black really helped to solidify and ground pieces. So down here I have this dark element. I want to bring some of this darkness. I'm going to turn it around just so I have better access to the bottom of it. And I really want to get some of this. This is a Payne's gray. I'm just going to put it right onto the piece. Just a little schluba-schlab there. Move that around. brush over some of this collage material, just a little lightly, and that kind of integrates it now into the piece. There's a nice transition between the space and the mixed media collage element. Okay, so we're building this up. And maybe if it's a little too dark for you, you can go in and add some lightness. Maybe I can kind of scratch away at this. And I don't want this to take over. I just can be another sort of small sub detail in the imagery that adds interest, but not too, takes away too much from the focal point. And I think what we're kind of getting at is the flowers to be the focal point. But in the meantime, we've now created a little bit more texture and interest in that space, scratching through the paint. So now let's turn that around so that I can kind of pull life back into it, something about reality. So I've been playing with my imagination up until this point. Right, so I'm not going to get too lost in the details of this thing. I'm just going to bring some lines, some elements down into it till it starts to make sense. That looks pretty good. And then in this back leaf here, I just want to add a little bit of darkness just to get them to sit back a little bit. Because this is working really well in our favor, sort of opening up this space, but it's fighting a little bit with this leaf. So we're going to add a little bit of yellow in there. So now there's a nice, I don't know if you noticed, but there's now a transition between this sort of limey green to this sort of more warm yellow. This area dried. I like that dried. So let's get back into that, because you're probably thinking, what about this and this area? Probably seems a little less sort of negotiated or working. So let's go back. I'm going to just repeat this element here again, the shapes. And then this guy, you guys can see a little bit of the inside there, but I can't see it here, but I'm going to put it there anyways, just because I want it to be. Bring some purple to this one. Making a gray. So I'm getting another brush, and I want to go in and kind of cancel out some of this information around the flowers. Now, I like that, and I kind of like this blue stuff that's happening. So I'm going to add a little white paint and a little bit of that phthalo blue that we talked about, which if you were my professor, you would have told me to not use this at all. But I learned the rule, I did the rule, now I'm breaking the rule. So I'm now mixing a little bit of this phthalo. Oh, and it's gorgeous, look at this. It just looks gorgeous. I want to eat it. Now it's got a little bit of paint on it, you can see, which this is sort of looking beautiful after a while. I might even just use this in a painting. So we're going to put that just up there. Base. I don't want to cover up the flowers or the leaves. Alright, you ready for the big reveal? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we've got some interesting things happening. So now what did we do? Let's see here, what happened here? So now you can kind of see, we're starting to build up the texture, the patterning, the leaflets, the background, the composition. It's really starting to become sort of an interesting piece. And I think that one of these flowers has to become sort of more dominant and more interesting with more detail. Now be more information, and I'm not minding that I'm going over into sort of the negative space. I'm really pulling out some of these details. And there's so many details if you look very closely. And there, going across the other end, coming around this side. Kind of gorgeous happening. You can see I added a little bit more detail regarding the orchid flower, but do you see how some of this negative space now is trapped in that flower shape, and it makes it so it feels like the space is relative to this now object. They're not two separate things, they're somehow intertwined. And that I really love. Might give just some details again over here. With this element, again, I'm playing with the exterior or negative space. This beautiful element here. There's a petal that goes here, I can see. Another petal in the back there. And then, what do you think? You think I should go for that third flower in the back? I think just a little bit of it. Let's just bring a little bit of it. Yeah, there we go. Perfect, just that little line there. Now, with a darker Caran d'Ache, and I'm going to draw this leaf. And I'm going in pretty strong because I want it to counterbalance what's happening on the other side. Right over the collage material. Yes. So now you can see that sort of counterbalances what's happening. You can see what I did with the orchid. I have the flower going on. And there is something not connected to the flowers, to the leaves. So I think I need to add, and if I turn this plant a little bit, if you guys, oh, you guys can already see it, there's a stem coming over. So what I might do is, and then I was sort of interested in this idea of this being sort of in a vignette of some sort, so like a sort of purpley, beautiful color. Let's see here if I can get this